Welcome to another special rankings video, as today is October 17th, which means it's Eminem's birthday. Eminem is my favorite artist of all time, and since he recently came out with a new album, I figured since it's his birthday, it was time to re-rank all of Eminem's albums from my least favorite to my favorite. It will be his 12 major studio releases. I'm not including Infinite. I did listen to that, and if I did include it, it would be towards the bottom. Not exactly sure which placement, but towards the bottom. And then the album of Music to Be Murdered By. I know there's a side A and side B, and it's supposed to be one album, but the side A and side B came out on different dates, almost a year apart. One came out in January and one came out in December of 2020. So I'm splitting those side A and side B because they did not come out on the same day. And of course, this ranking is going to be my personal opinion, and at any point in time I could change my opinion. Some of these are really grouped together and really close, and on a different day one could be like 2 or 3 spots ahead of another, and there's one that I always flip-flop on. Like one time I listen to it and it's really good, the next time I listen to it it's bad again, or not bad but not as entertaining for me. And then how I based my ranking is on the number of tracks that I like, and if I want to listen to the album. Like if I'm just skipping tracks, if I just let it play, that is a very key indicator that I really like the album. And some of his albums I only like 3 or 4 tracks, and I'm like skipping everything else. So again, this is going to be my personal opinion, and the next time that I do this, when he comes out with another album, I could change my opinion. Now, why did I wait so long to do this ranking when he came out with his new album? I think it was in July. I wanted to kind of let things resonate. I don't want to make any quick decisions. And on the Death of Slim Shady Coup de Grace, I was kind of mixed, not really sure where I wanted to go, but new information has came out, and of course the big information of, Haley Jade being expecting mother, that made me like the album a little bit more with that, the song that is on there. So that's why I waited a while, just want to let things resonate, and I knew Eminem's birthday is October 17th, that's one of the celebrity birthdays that I know off the top of my head, like Sylvester Stallone, so that's why I waited so long to do this. Normally I would probably do it within a couple weeks from when the album came out. But hey, I'm glad I waited because now I have a fresh perspective on things, and it gave me time to re-listen to all the albums, even if I didn't really want to listen to some of the albums. And again, he's one of my favorite artists of all time, and a lot of his bad albums that somebody would consider bad are like equal to somebody's best effort, or close to somebody's best effort, in my opinion. So let's start the ranking off. Again, my opinion, and make sure that you leave yours in the comment section. Hulk smash the like button, and of course subscribe to the channel. Coming in 12th place, this has not changed for me, and that would be Relapse. This album has a couple good tracks that I really like. Underground, Beautiful, and Crack a Bottle to a degree. Underground and Beautiful I like a lot, but Crack a Bottle is kind of iffy. But this album has so many annoying accents. And I know a lot of people really like this album. They think it's lyrically like masterpiece. I don't share that same love of this album. When it first came out, I liked it, but the more I listened to it, the more I didn't like it. I'll listen to it. I like Underground and Beautiful and somewhat Crack a Bottle, but the rest of the album, I'm merely skipping to hear the next track. So Relapse unfortunately comes in 12th place. Now, if I included Relapse Refill, which came out, I don't remember how long it was after Relapse came out, that has the song Forever on it with Drake, Kanye West, and Lil Wayne, I would probably move this up 1 spot if it was Relapse Refill. But this was the major studio release. This was the original Relapse album, and that's why that's in 12th place. Coming in 11th place, and this didn't change, the album that a lot of people would put towards the bottom, and that would be Revival, or they should just say the I Hate Trump album. I mean, there's some songs I like on this. I don't necessarily agree with Eminem's opinions on things, but there are some songs that I just like to listen to, like Home with Alicia Keys, Bad Husband I really like, A Rose, Nowhere Fast, I just kind of like how the pace of it goes, and then River, I really enjoy as well. A lot of people hate this album. They think it's a clusterfuck, and it's not the greatest, but I like listening to this album more than I like listening to Relapse, and that's why Revival comes in 11th place for me. In 10th place for me, this is the album that always is low, then it goes high, then it goes low, then it goes high. I can't make up my mind where I want to put this album, but upon re-listening to this album, it's not that entertaining. There's a couple good tracks, don't get me wrong. There's one really, really good track on this album, but my number 10 is going to be Recovery. When this first came out, I really liked this album, but from there, I've been flip-flopping on it all the time. Now, I love the song No Love with Lil Wayne. That's an amazing song. Not Afraid is pretty good too. Love The Way You Lie, although it got overplayed with Rihanna, it's still a good song. And then Cinderella Man. But the rest of the album, like the songs are kind of so-so. And if you compare this to other Eminem albums, I would rather listen to them. Although the next one is really close, and I could, like I said, Recovery always flip-flops for me. It could go higher, like 3 or 4 spots, but it's not that great, other than a few tracks. So Recovery, unfortunately, is my number 10. This one, I have it's hard to kind of rank because I like it, but it's not that epic. There's not really one really, really amazing song like Recovery has, No Love with Lil Wayne. But my number 9 is going to be, again, I'm splitting this album up because they did not come out on the same day. Music to Be Murdered By, Side B. This album, it seems to me like all these tracks were recorded years ago. And it's like tracks that Eminem was sitting on, and then he finally decided to put them on the album. Maybe not all of them, but there's a couple of them that sound like that. I like Guns Blazing. I like Book of Rhymes. Killer is good. Higher is good. And then Mad is pretty entertaining too. The song about the pandemic song essentially. It doesn't have that major that big track that I really like. So I put Music to Be Murdered By, Side B, in 9th place. I wonder if other people would put this toward the bottom, which I guess it is towards the bottom, but lower than Relapse. Everybody else is going to put Relapse way higher on their list, and that's your opinion. So Music to Be Murdered By, Side B, is my number 9. All right, this is probably the one that'll get me canceled. When I started listening to Eminem, the first album, or the first thing I ever heard from Eminem, was the Marshall Mathers LP. So my number 8, it sounds way different in my opinion than the Marshall Mathers LP, and that would be the Slim Shady LP. Yes, there are some good tracks on this album, I'm not going to lie, but I just rather listen to all the other albums that are coming up. I mean, it has Guilty Conscience, it has If I Had, it has Just Don't Give a Fuck, it has Role Model. Those are all really good tracks. I wouldn't say they're amazing epic tracks, although I do like Guilty Conscience quite a bit. But the sound of it sounds different compared to his other albums, like the Marshall Mathers LP and the Eminem Show, which obviously I haven't talked about yet until now. So I know a lot of you would say this is number 1 or number 2. It just, the sound and my nostalgia with the other albums of not listening to this one first and listening to the Marshall Mathers LP first, I have to put it at number 9. Now, this is the part of the ranking where a lot of these are interchangeable. Number 7 through number 5, I would say, are interchangeable. On any given day, I could change my opinion. Like, tomorrow, I could have a completely different opinion from number 7 to number 5. So, coming in 7th place, which I think when this album came out, it was kind of a letdown because it had to follow one of Eminem's masterpieces, but my number 7 is going to be Encore. I like a lot of stuff on this album, but this is the album where he started using accents, and all the songs with annoying accents I don't necessarily like. Ass Like That is okay, I will say, but I really like the end track Encore with 50 Cent. Dr. Dre, I like Just Lose It. I think that music video is hilarious. Like Toy Soldiers is amazing. Yellow Brick Road, I really like the beat and the sound of Yellow Brick Road. Mosh, while I don't necessarily agree with the opinions, it's kind of catchy and I always kind of hum along with it or sing along with it. And then on the bonus track that came with the album, We As Americans I really liked, and Love You More I really like. So those two bonus tracks actually make the album higher. If I didn't include the bonus tracks, which it came with the original album, so I'm including them, this would probably be number 8 or number 9 on the ranking, I think. But I like listening to a lot of stuff on this album. It just had to follow the Eminem Show, which that is a tough act to follow. So number 7 for me is Encore. Number 6, I think, is one of Eminem's most underrated albums. It was his first surprise album. It came out after Revival. The critical reception from Revival was not good. Eminem told a large percentage of his fan base to fuck off, and like the sales and the publicity for Revival were mostly negative. So he came out with the surprise album. And initially, like, I wasn't high on it, but when I re-listened to it, like, a year ago, or was it 2 years ago, and then I recently re-listened to it, it's freaking awesome. It's kind of limited on how many tracks it has, but it's a great album. And, of course, I'm talking about Kamikaze. Of course, you have a song, Stepping Stone, that I really like. You have Not Alike, which is really good. You have Lucky You. You have The Ringer. You have Greatest, and you have Fall. It's a really good album. It's just limited. Now, the song Venom, I'm not a big fan of, and then Good Guy, I'm not necessarily a big fan of yet. Maybe I will be someday, but it's really good for how limited it is with the amount of tracks that's on it. It's got some good bangers, as I would say. So Kamikaze comes in 6th place. We've gotten to the top 5, and again, these are interchangeable. Like number 7 through number 5, I think, are interchangeable. Tomorrow, my order could be completely different tomorrow, but my number 5 is going to be Eminem's newest entry, and that would be The Death of Slim Shady Coup de Grace. It's a really good album. I know a lot of people say this is easily a top 3 album. When I listen to this album, I don't like it that much, and I don't think it will ever get to my top 3. Even if years go by, I just don't like it as much. It's got some good tracks on it. I'm not sure if it has a standout in my opinion yet. I do like Guilty Conscience 2, though. I think that song is funny and serious at the same time. You, of course, have the song with Jelly Roll, Somebody Save Me. That's really good. Houdini's really good. Temporary is the song that made this actually go up. This would have probably been lower, but then the music video and then the reveal that Haley Jade is pregnant, I think that's good. And it's a good song. It's deep. This is a very deep album. You have Road Rages, which is really good in my opinion. You get the Eminem channeling Juvenile to the speed of Back That Ass Up, which I really like, so I like that. You have Fuel, which is one of the best tracks, and then Toby is okay. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if this will ever go into the top 3. I guess it's possible at some point. And one of the reasons why I waited to do this ranking so late, because I wanted to get the physical copy of the album. So that's why, one of the reasons why there was a delay. But I'm glad I waited, because my opinion would probably be different and this would probably be lower. So The Death of Slim Shady, Coup de Grace, is my number 5. We've reached the final 4, and all these albums that I'm about to talk about are really, really good. And it's actually hard to rank a couple of these. I think these next 2, I could foresee at some point them switching places. I'm not 100% sure, but these are really good albums. And one of them I probably like more than other people. That's just me, though. But coming in number 4, the 4th place for me is going to be the Marshall Mathers LP2. I think this is a slept-on album. This has a lot of really good tracks. Now, it has a couple tracks that were like made, singles that came out with music videos that I didn't really like Berserk. Didn't care for it all, but it has Bad Guy, So Much Better, Survival, Legacy, Asshole, Rap God, Monster, Headlights. Those are all deep or bangers in my opinion, and I really like them. Yeah, it's kind of an album that maybe people would rank lower, but it should be. It's one of Eminem's best, in my opinion. So that's why I put the Marshall Mathers LP2 as my number 4. I think my 3rd place is the most divisive album on this ranking, where a lot of people would put it lower and a lot of people combine Music to Be Murdered By side A and side B, which that's fine if you want to do that, but my opinion, one came out in January, one came out in December. Why should I combine 2 albums that almost came out a year apart? So that's not what I'm going to do. But my number 3, obviously, with that talk is going to be Music to Be Murdered By side A. I really like this album. In fact, one point I said this was my favorite Eminem album. After a couple of years went by, I changed my tune on that. It's really good. It's really solid in my opinion. I think there's a lot of like good songs with good beats and like bangers to a degree on there. Of course, Godzilla. I love Godzilla. I love Those Kind of Nights, back to Eminem Bizarre D12 song. No Regrets I really like. And then you have a song like Darkness, which is deep, Stepdad, which is really good, Marsh, which is really good, Premonition, and Unaccommodating. So it's got some really good tracks and memorable tracks that I remember and that I want to like one of my top favorite Eminem songs like Godzilla. But I really like Those Kind of Nights too with Ed Sheeran, which not that special of a song, but it's just catchy to me. So Music to Be Murdered By, Side A, is my number 3. So I've reached the final 2, and I'm sure a lot of you already know what my number 1 and number 2 are in order. I've talked about them before. Again, my first experience with Eminem was my friend Clinton, who's now deceased, gave me a burnt copy of the Marshall Mathers LP. And I'd never heard of Eminem at that point in time. Maybe I watched TRL, but I didn't remember like his song being in the top 10 for that day. Don't ask me why. I mean, I liked Tupac at the time. I liked Nas. I think I liked Jay-Z a little bit. But then I saw and paid attention to TRL one day, and I heard the song The Way I Am. When I listened to that bootleg copy of the album, I didn't like it. Now, I don't remember how much I actually listened to, but I'm rambling now. My number 2 is going to be the Marshall Mathers LP. My favorite Eminem track of all time is The Way I Am. I absolutely love that song, and when I saw that music video and I saw how it hit and how deep it kind of was, it's not as deep as some of his songs like, Stan and like other Darkness, but man, The Way I Am is good. But then you also have other tracks on this album like Stan, like The Real Slim Shady, like Kim. I really like the song Kim. Marshall Mathers, I'm Back, Kill You, Criminal, Under the Influence. They're all really good tracks, and it just makes for a really good album. In fact, this is probably an album where I could just press play and just listen to the whole thing without skipping any tracks that I don't necessarily care for. Off the top of my head, I think maybe Drug Ballad was one I didn't really like, but other than that, I mean, I really like this album. And it's tough to put this at number 2, but, there's just one album that's just a little bit better in my opinion, but that's why the Marshall Mathers LP is my number 2. So you already probably knew what my number 1 is going into this. I absolutely love this album when it came out in 2002, and I play it all the time, and that would be, of course, The Eminem Show. Now, lyrically, some people would say lyrically it's not as good as like Relapse. Well, I think it's really good. Of course, my favorite song favorite track on the album is Clean Out My Closet. You have the funny song Without Me, which that video is hilarious in my opinion. You have White America, which is pretty good. You have Business, which is good. You have Soldier, which is good. In my opinion, Say Goodbye to Hollywood is good. You have Sing for the Moment, which that's a song I don't necessarily like as much as some people do, but it's good. Drips, Superman is great. When the Music Stops, I like that with D12. Say What You Say with Dr. Dre. Till I Collapse, which a lot of people like. And when I first heard the album, that's not one that I necessarily resonated to, at least at first. And then, of course, you have the funny song with Haley, My Dad's Gone Crazy, which I really like that song. But it's just, this is an album I can push play and enjoy the whole album, even the skits. This album, in my opinion, is that good as my left shoulder and bicep are getting tired of holding these albums up. But it's amazing, and I can't put this lower, and I'm surprised that I at one point put Music to Be Murdered By over this masterpiece. I don't know what I was thinking, but The Eminem Show is easily my number 1. So happy birthday to the GOAT, Marshall Mathers, Eminem. Let me know what your ranking of all Eminem's albums are in the comment section. If you want to combine Music to Be Murdered By into one album, that's fine, but they didn't come out on the same day, and they almost came out a year later. If you want to include Infinite, you can. It's just not a major studio release, and I feel like I would do it injustice by including it in this ranking since it's so old, in my opinion. I did listen to a little bit of it. I don't know if I've actually listened to the whole album before. I don't think I have. I think I still have to listen to like one song, maybe two. But make sure that you leave your ranking however you want to do it in the comment section. Yeah, there's other Eminem stuff I could include in a ranking. Like the Re-Up is a really good song. Curtain Call 1 is good. With a couple, like When I'm Gone is on there. There's a lot of stuff. That's why I just narrowed it down to his major solo studio releases. I love the D12 album, the first one. D12 World's okay, but I like Devil's Night a lot more. So make sure that you leave your ranking in the comment section. Hulk, smash the like button if you're a fan of Eminem. Share the video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Let me know what you think of my ranking. Am I a damn fool for putting the Slim Shady LP so low? I'll take criticism if you want. That's fine. Am I a damn fool for putting Relapse so low at number 12? Revival is ahead of Relapse? That's just my opinion. There's songs on Revival or tracks on Revival that I would rather listen to than listen to Relapse as a whole. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDEV TV.